Smalls, you're killing me. Killing me, Smalls. How can I have some more? Probably more coming.
Yes. Okay, good evening. Welcome to our City Council meetings this evening for Wednesday, August 28th. We will get started tonight with a Pledge of Allegiance. Sorry, I've got to get to where I was. Fine, we'll have that by Braden Knutson tonight. Am I saying that right, Braden Knutson? Perfect. Thank you, Braden. We appreciate that. Move on to item 4.2, City Council comments and recognitions. So we want to do the, when are we doing the photo contest? Is that now or is that?
That's later.
There nine. Okay. Any other comments from, recognitions from City Council? Nothing right now. Okay. We'll move on to the fun part of the council meeting tonight, our public comment portion. Audience members at this point may bring any item within the city's purview to the city council's attention. Comments will be limited to 2 minutes. State law prohibits the council from acting on items that do not appear on the agenda. Public comments for this meeting will also be conducted electronically. Any person interested in addressing the council may submit a comment by emailing recorder@harriman.org or by visiting harriman.org/agendas and minutes, where there is a link to fill out an online public comment form. Your statement will be incorporated into the public record. And I will say we did receive several emails this week as well, so just as a note, those are public record as well. So those, just by coming through our official system, those are comment as well. So I do have comment forms, so I will read through these. What you'll see is you'll see a timer pop up on here. You'll get just a kind of a chime when there's a 2-minute warning at that point. So we will jump in. The first one I have tonight is for Braden Knutson.
Can I ask a quick question? These two are representing a group, and we were told that would take 5 minutes.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. I believe Hadley and Peter are going to go first. Is that okay?
You bet. So if you can just say your name, just so we know who you are.
Hello, my name is Peter.
And I'm Hadley. We are students of Silvercrest Elementary who are being majorly affected by this new reroute to school. These are our real concerns. We are not just speaking our parents' minds. And we have proof that kids agree with us. We got as many kids as possible to sign these petitions, and so did our parents, but for adults. We know that that's your part.
We know that the system needs to be changed, and we respect everyone for trying to do it. But we feel it's not the most effective or the safest way. Many people would agree putting a light down is the safest and the most effective way. Hence the petitions with over 300 signatures.
For over a decade, parents have been asking for light by the four-way intersection at Silvercrest that at least 500 kids walk a day, including us. But you told them that there would be too many lights there, but then you continue to put 2 more lights in, both of them not being in the spot we need them in most. Another major concern about the new route that we have is all of the younger kids. As the older kids leave, all of these little kids are on their own to brave this new route. And for some kids, they just started going to Silvercrest and they have no idea, they have no one to watch over them, and they don't understand road safety just yet. Take my little sister, for example. For her whole life, she has had me or my older brother to walk her to school. Once I leave, she will be all alone along with all these younger kids. It will be so confusing. What if they forget to look both ways or they aren't paying attention? This is a scary thought that is hard to comprehend, and tons of other people I know are scared for their siblings and children too.
One of my scariest memories was when I was waiting at a crosswalk and a kid who looked to be in about first grade crossed the street, and a car came zooming out of nowhere, and it was this close to hitting him. That kid's life was almost snatched up there. And with the new route, you're going to be having us cross 4 new roads, and one of the roads is where that kid almost got hit. The new route is gambling with people's lives. So please, be the hero and put a light down, and I'm sure that it will save a person's life.
Also, the traffic at the three-way intersection gets backed up for quite a bit. And in the area where it's pathway instead of a sidewalk, there are lots of thorns and really sharp things that hurt when you step on them. Kids try to get around the crowd on the dirt when they are riding their bikes. And I have seen this happen, and Peter has experienced it, where kids are riding in the dirt and there are glass shards everywhere, and their tires pop. It's not fun and not safe.
Another reason why you should put a light down is kids will be jaywalking, since it is the easiest route and the quickest route. Hadley and me, of course, won't, but some other people I know will for sure jaywalk. So please, put a light down to stop the temptation.
And also, during the winter time, people will still be speeding through the crossing area like they did before the route changed. What if they slide and hit the sidewalk? Someone told us that they witnessed something like this happen. And the one way to solve this is by putting a light there, or at least enforcing a much lower speed limit. It is a school zone after all. We know that this will cost quite a bit of money, but I guarantee you that there will be people willing to donate. And it may take a while to build, but that's where the speed limit comes in.
It's likely a kid will get hit, so please put a light in. You may be able to say no to 2 people, but not to the over 300 people who signed our petitions and our parents. We appreciate that you gave us your time to listen to our concerns.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hadley and Peter. Very well done. Okay, we'll go to Braden then. Do you want to?
So we moved in just over 12 years ago now and built a house just near the Up House. And when we moved here, one of the main reasons was we wanted the closeness to these amazing facilities, the school, the fitness center, and the library, and we were about a half mile away, and that was just ideal. That was perfect. And so we've got this main arterial route that comes right into our neighborhood that our kids and families would walk to those facilities. 12 years ago, I emailed, and I sent this over to you this morning in an email, and Teddy has the original email that I had sent asking for a stoplight to be put there. 12 years ago, it was pretty evident that it was needed. It was a very unsafe intersection now, and I believe Harriman has grown over 200% in population since then. I'm guessing that's a pretty moderate number. It might even be more than that. And it has increased the risk at that intersection. So my only regret with this whole effort is that we weren't doing this a decade ago, many, many years ago before now. So I would just ask to seriously consider doing something to improve the safety. I know we're waiting on that big report that will be coming here in a couple of weeks, those counts for pedestrians and traffic and accidents that have occurred there, as well as future growth projections. And once that's done, we would love to see a stoplight or even a roundabout or something that is much more safe than the current situation. And I would also invite you, whether you join the group me that I had sent you the link to, or the printout that I had submitted to the recorder earlier, to read through those experiences. Almost everyone in this room has submitted some of those stories of actual things that are happening even today. We probably had 10 of them submitted today. That's the experience that we are going through as families at that intersection, and I would hope that you would consider making those changes to improve the safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Braden. Okay. Lacey Taylor?
Hi, my name is Lacey Taylor. I live in the Harriman Town Center. I'm here to add my voice to the safety concerns on Harriman Main Street and Harriman Rose Boulevard. This is not an us versus you situation. Everyone, the police, Silvercrest staff, residents are trying to find solutions with resources available to them. Our aim is to increase the options available to the City Council to find the best working solution. It is why we met with and asked city engineers to conduct a new traffic study. The first week with the new walking route had major red flags that both Peter and Hadley shared. Cars have come close to hitting kids not walking the correct routes in the parking lot. Traffic congestion has greatly increased both on Main Street and all around Silvercrest Elementary. I really want to thank the police officers, crossing guards, and school staff for their attentiveness through this all. This intersection has safety concerns all throughout the day, not just during school time. Our optimal solution is a traffic signal. The police force mentioned a controlled intersection is the safest way for pedestrians to cross. As a parent, I can't advocate for anything less. We'd like to ask you to contrast the traffic at Harriman Rose Boulevard to Black Locust Way. Consider relocating that traffic signal. It may be an inconvenient change, but not impossible, and it may be a solution that helps slow traffic on Main Street as a whole. We are not advocating for all or nothing. Many of us are open-minded in our solutions and have shared many ideas daily on how to make this intersection safer. I look forward to hearing the results of the traffic study. I hope they are in our favor to make a real change. But does safety warrant intervention? If there's one thing we all agree on, it's this intersection is not safe. We want to cross here. We are pleading with you. Be willing to allot funds to make this intersection the safest possible, even if numbers barely miss an elusive threshold from the study. When you go to the doctor with a broken arm, they don't hand you a Band-Aid and ask you to, just try not to use it. Instead, you go through an uncomfortable 6 weeks of cast wearing to heal a fracture at its core. That's what we're asking for. No more temporary solutions for our intersection. We're all feeling the pains on the path to recovery. Let's heal this intersection at the core.
Thank you, Lacey. David Pruitt.
I have a 3-year-old back there who's hopefully going to behave while I'm up here. I am here to lend my voice towards all those things that have already been said about this specific intersection, whether it's a stop sign or a stoplight or a roundabout. I think all of those are excellent solutions that are definitely improvements upon what is currently existing. However, what I would like to say, I would prefer that it be a roundabout. I think that is the best option. Roundabouts have been demonstrated multiple times in multiple studies to be significantly safer compared to both stop signs and traffic lights. When you have a roundabout, it's been shown that there's about a 90% reduction in traffic fatalities and a 30% reduction in overall accidents compared to a typical four-way traffic light. So it's good for pedestrians. It's excellent for safety. It's also good for cars, honestly. Cars do not have to stop and pile up at a red light. And so they don't, instead of going through this red light at platoons or green light at platoons, there is continuous traffic flow. So it's great for cars and it's great for safety. It's also economical. Roundabouts cost about the same to install as a traffic light, but over the years, whether it's 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, you do not have to maintain a roundabout through equipment, maintenance costs like you do with a traffic light. So it's actually more economical than a traffic light. So that is what I would like to advocate for is a roundabout. So that's it.
Thank you, David. Gavin Nyberg.
I'm Gavin, and I'm a student at Silvercrest, and I'd like to make a few comments on the intersection. And when I was walking home from school yesterday, there was a group of kids in front of me who wanted to get in front of the group of kids in front of them. So they walked on the side, and they got a lot of goat heads in their shoes. And the path has a lot of goat heads, tall weeds, broken glass on either side. The new path is very crowded. The crossing guards are out holding their stop signs for kids to cross, and the light has already turned green because the crossing time is too short. In the afternoon, cars are trying to turn into the Los Tapatios parking lot as kids are crossing on their way to the light.
Thank you, Gavin. Richard Cox.
Thank you. My name is Richard Cox. An email preceded this last Wednesday, so you would have received an email from me. My wife and I moved into Harriman 16 years ago when the recreation complex was in the planning phases. And so I offered to help with some suggestions and so forth. And so my input was that they ought to build a couple, 2 or 4 tennis court complex contiguous to the recreation complex. And the response to my request was that they were not needed because the high school has 8 courts. Now, as you may know, those are not available anymore. So consequently, right now, what a city of 60,000 people has is 3 tennis courts, not 3 complexes, 3 tennis courts, 2 on Marabella, which are in pretty good shape, and 1 on Morning Light, which is in horrible shape. It actually is built in a water retention pool. And so you can see when this last storm we had that came through, we got a lot of water. So that court was not available for use for at least a week. Now, it finally dried up, and I went out there with a 5-gallon can and a shovel and shoveled 30 gallons of dirt off the one end and put it off the court so that it was just usable, but it was still dirty. It's still dirty. We played last night, but we had to use it because the courts over on Marabella were full. So it's just you can't have a city of 60,000 and only have 3 public tennis courts. You just can't. But that's what we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Nathan Dyer.
Good afternoon. I'm here to talk about Main Street and the main issue that a lot of people are here for as well. It's great to have the Nybergs here. One of the reasons why we bought the house from them is the location. We love the location that we live in here, just being so close to so many great amenities, the parks, the rec center, the main park that we have right here. With that being said, I hate crossing Main Street. Getting to the rec center every day or going to the school to play at the parks there is a major concern for me and my family. And we see accidents happen there all the time. I know a lot of people here are talking about traffic lights. I'm in support of any means in order to help control the traffic on the Main Street in general. As our city continues to grow, the question I have is, what is the vision that we have for this street? There's a lot of crossing points on it, and we can't put a light at every point. I know how that is. I live in a city where they kept on putting stop signs at every single intersection, and it slows everything down, and it makes major problems for them. I understand the pain points there, but I would encourage the city to look at solutions in order to help control the traffic on this Main Street area, slow it down, so they can help the families and the kids that love to use the amenities that we have in this general location. And I look forward to seeing what solutions come from it. So, thank you.
Thank you, Nathan. Okay, those are all the forms I have. Anybody else wanting to speak at this time? Like I said, you're welcome to. That's all I have. So if you're welcome, if you still want to make a comment, you're welcome to come forward at this time and just state your name.
I don't really have anything prepared right now.
Okay, you're just
but
fine.
I have been thinking about this intersection for a long time. And I know that many of you.
State your name.
Sorry, can
Oh,
you?
sorry. My name is Sarah Cheney. So
Perfect.
Peter is my guy over here who was able to speak with you guys. Sorry. I think my greatest concern was I was very surprised when we changed the walking route. For me, I have 2 6th graders. In a year, my kids will be growing out of Silvercrest, and I have no other kids who go there. But my main concern is to make it safe during school hours and after, like at all times. All of us have a story in this room. We all have a story, and we've shared them with you guys, of things happening at this intersection that have been very, very unsafe, and where our lives were really just, we're like, whoa, I can't believe we made it through that. There was a time where I had to stop in the middle of the intersection while 5 kids that I was walking to the library to take them to the library, and I had to stop a car with my hands like this so the kids could run to the other side. And the trees in front of Los Tapatillos are too big. They are blinding it. Those flashing lights are invisible at certain times of the day. We need something red, something flashing, something to stop the traffic there. We can't build a city the way we did with a school, a rec center, a library, and then sit and not build an infrastructure that supports it. We have to be responsible for what we've built. And that's what we're asking for today, is for that responsibility to be met. And we've been asking for it for a decade. I've lived here for 10 years. We used to have flags. We had a lot of other options, but we just feel at this point with how it's grown, we need something more and safer. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sarah.
Hi, my name is Krista Peterson. We've heard a lot about the safety issues, and I'd like to talk on another aspect that's come up for my family. We purchased here in Harriman because we love the walkability. We've loved the schools and how everything is close by. My oldest son just started at Copper Mountain this year, and things have changed for our family with the new walking route and everything. We typically in the morning, my husband and I loved walking our kids to Silvercrest each morning. It was a great way to bond as a family. It was a great way to help our environment and see the people in our neighborhood as well. Now with the changes, we drop our son off at Copper Mountain and we come back to take our kids to Silvercrest, and we can't make it in time anymore. It's just simply not enough time. So we drop our son off at Copper Mountain and we add to the car traffic now instead of getting out and being part of our community. So we're adding our family, though we don't want to, and we are walking distance, have to add to the congestion that's going on around. So thank you for listening to us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Krista.
Hi, my name is Colin Ricks, and I'd also like to speak to the safety concerns on Main Street. So Harriman has an active transportation plan, and one of the priorities of that plan is to make alternate means of transportation, walking and biking, and scooters, safe and convenient for as many residents as possible. And that was one of the reasons that we moved here, because we were so close to all these amenities that people have mentioned. So I think there's a broader concern, rather than just a single intersection. I think the entire Main Street, there are concerns there with crossing anywhere, even at the traffic lights. There's been close calls. I've personally experienced many of them. There was a death several years ago near the dog park. That intersection is also not very safe. There was a car that jumped the curb just like last month, right in front of the library and hit the light pole. So I think the solution that I advocate is, at least part of the solution, is we need to reduce the speeds on Main Street. And there are many ways to do that. We can reduce the speed limit, which would dramatically increase safety, but we can also force drivers to drive safer, to drive slower. There's many engineering solutions that are simple and effective and well proven in many areas of the country and around the world that can help make this area safer. So I'm asking that you act and do something about the safety in this area. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Bourne. I don't have anything more to add, but I do want to add my voice. I know there's been discussion actually just recently about, is this a convenience issue or is this a safety issue? And for me and my family, and I think for several of the voices that have already spoken, that above everything else, it's a safety. It's a concern for safety. And it doesn't just pertain to those crossing in the morning for Silvercrest or in the afternoon for Silvercrest, but at all times. And there has been so much growth. And so that intersection is used so much, or it's wanted to be used. There's some that don't use it now because they don't feel safe, but like Sarah said, it was created. It was built to be used, and many of us who've lived here for over a decade have used it. We love the amenities, but we want it to be safer. During school time, during the summertime, after school hours, at all times. For students, but for adults too, who love the community, but just want safer ways. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Abigail Van Noy. We've lived in the area just over 2 years, and like many of them, we chose to live here because of the walkability. And in choosing to live here, we also chose like smaller lots, so like things people gave up because they wanted to live here, because they wanted to be close. So we wanted our kids to be able to walk to a rec center and on, repeating like what others have said, but people also made some sacrifices in choosing to live in this area. I also, last year, was on the Silvercrest Community Council and was part of the subcommittee, well, the Safe Walking Route, and was there when the police officers came and told us they were changing it, and we counseled them not to do it, and we tried to problem solve and continued to counsel them not to do it, but the city, they've said it pretty much to us that it was decided. I'm still walking my child, and I actually now have a kindergartner, and I'm following the route. Even when he's not with me, as an adult, I'm walking it, and I'm paying attention to a lot of the things. I think someone mentioned that kids, it's hard to get kids to comply. Like they might be walking it, but so many, like our bike racks are full of kids' scooters and bikes because they bike to school. And my neighbor boy has had 2 flat tires in not even a whole week of school. And I've heard of others getting flat tires. And then the crushed gravel that's along, I forget what it's called, but along, that they put down is really difficult for kids with bikes and scooters to ride on as well. And that's the route we take. And then if we want to avoid that, we have to cross 2 extra times to stay on a sidewalk, which also made it take probably 5 minutes longer. So it's just the new walkability, and I'm seeing kids going through the rec center trying to avoid all the traffic, and I'm just really concerned. And I don't know how to get them to comply, especially if their parents aren't there. And I think it's just going to be a growing issue throughout the whole year. Thank you.
Thank you, Abigail. Is that from Klamath Falls? Is that your shirt? Oh, yes. Nathan, did you see that?
She's paying homage to your old alma mater.
Klamath Falls. She's wearing a Klamath shirt.
That's
Nathan was,
California.
so our city manager just moved down from, he was the city manager in Klamath Falls before here. So I just thought it was an interesting connection. So there we go.
We did a lot on walkability there, so I have a lot of experience.
They didn't have any traffic issues in Klamath Falls, right?
Yeah, go ahead. Yep, go ahead.
My name is Laura Barlow. I'll voice my opinion with everybody else, but I had one extra thing to say regarding the length of the walk. We live very south, like almost the furthest south you can go in like the Harriman Village. So the first day I walked with my children, I walk them every day, and I tracked it, and it's 1.5 miles for my kids to walk. every day. And I didn't know, I haven't looked it up or anything, but I know that busing is if you live a mile away from the school as the crow flies. But now with that walking route, that's not as the crow flies. You're making us walk a really long distance to get there. I'm a baby. I cry about everything. But anyway, I just wanted to say that it takes my kids probably 15 extra minutes to walk home, and that's a long time. And so it's not as the crow flies anymore, because that's typically what they say about busing is as the crow flies. This isn't as the crow flies anymore, because you're now making us do this instead. So anyway, I'll be done.
Thank you, Laura.
Hi, I'm Heidi Kimball. We moved in about 3 years ago, and all of my kids have gone to Silvercrest Elementary, including my youngest, who just started this year. He has a hip disease called Perthes, which means he's not supposed to walk or run or climb or jump. So the one thing he can do is ride his bike. We've tried walking. It's been very unsuccessful. The pathways are so crowded, so it's really hard for him to even stay on the path and to not have to stop and hold his bike for a few minutes as he crosses and stuff, because it's so slow and backed up. On top of that, he has gotten 2 flat tires. He got one on Friday, he got one on Monday. We don't have time to fix flat tires every single night. So the last couple of days I've had to drive him, and I'm just bummed out because he doesn't get to play on the playground at school. So this is his chance for exercises right before and after school to get some energy out. And I think the thing that I'm most disappointed about is that it feels like some of the decisions have been made in favor of vehicular convenience over pedestrian safety. And I would just like to add my voice in advocating for a safer crossing on the original walking route that has been up till now.
Okay, we'll go ahead and close public comment at this time. I will just say, I hope you know as a council, we do appreciate you being involved. I think I can speak for all of us up here. We all got involved doing this because there was an issue that happened in our community that we got involved with. And so we truly appreciate you bringing your voices tonight. I think we've it's been stated. I think, we are going to do the study, right? That is coming. So I'm going to actually let Blake, we're going to turn to Blake and kind of let Blake, and Blake, you can turn to whoever. I warned you, so you can't. So just so kind of everybody knows what the process is from here, because we are going to do the study to kind of understand our options as city. I know it's been said that the last study was probably during COVID. Traffic patterns have changed. So this will help us know what those new counts are. So Blake, I'll let you kind of I'm not an engineer, so I'm going to let you speak.
And I'm speaking with the city engineer absent tonight. So he and I have met with a couple of the residents, and we will be doing a traffic count of that intersection. We wanted to wait for school to get a couple weeks in, because we always have a lot more walkers, and just it normalizes after a couple of weeks. So we'll conduct the studies starting late next week, and the counters will be out for a couple of weeks, and then we'll take the data after that. It'll take us a few weeks to conduct the warrant study. We have to crunch some data with accidents and counts and things. And so we expect the overall study to be completed sometime in October. So I'm thinking, hopeful that October 9th, we'll be able to report some data at that meeting, possibly not the complete report at that point, with some recommendations. Likely to get that report peer studied or peer reviewed by a independent engineering firm, and then the report should be ready by the end of October. And maybe at a council meeting around that time, we'll present it to the council and have it publicly noticed on our agenda at that time, so everybody can come and hear those results.
Blake, could you please explain what a warrant study is? You use that term. I want to make sure everybody understands what that means.
I'm more of a water engineer than a traffic engineer, but I've been doing this long enough. So when you put in a traffic control device, whether it's a stop sign or a signal, roundabout, there's a certain criteria study, a warrant study we do that looks at the input parameters like alignment of the intersection, number of pedestrians, proximity to another signal, many factors like that. And it will, it's based on standards from national standards, and it'll kind of tell the engineers what should go in, what shouldn't go in. And it's a study that we've done on a few other, or a lot of intersections in the city similar to this situation. And the engineering department has never recommended against a warrant study. The council obviously has the authority to go and put something in, but just keep in mind that if we do put something in that is not warranted, then there's a liability concern if an accident does happen. So that's, I don't know, does that answer the question? Nathan's probably got some more.
The word warrant just means in the manual, was it Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices, the MUTCD, which is the manual we use, it's used across the country. There's a section, a warrant might be your counts, certain counts for 8 hours vehicles, 4 hours vehicles. There's certain things in there called warrants. That's why we call it a warrant study. I don't know why they called them warrants. They could have been criteria, but some engineer at some point called them warrants. So when you hear the warrant study, they're talking about specific criteria that we look at. I've done this for 25 years, and I always get asked, why is it called warrants? I have no idea, but that's when you hear us say warrant study as a city, we're talking about specific criteria that are called out, and we have to include them, and they're labeled warrant 1, warrant 2, warrant 3 for some reason.
Yep, we'll have the results of that warrant study to see what's recommended at that point.
Teddy, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you. Most of you guys are my friends and neighbors. Like Mayor said, that sometimes it's one issue that gets us super involved, and you continue to be involved, and then I've already warned a couple of my neighbors you might get asked to run for office or for planning and zoning or for other city things. Like this is what activates people and gets them involved. And Peter and Hadley, good job. Way to go. Way to be very articulate, and it's a wonderful to have you out here and to get to know the processes. And these meetings are a lot funner for us when you guys are present and when our constituents show up and let us know that we're doing a good job. Obviously, this issue isn't the best, and it arises concerns and issues, and you brought that to our attention with a powerful voice. And the city and the staff have taken this consideration and are doing that study, and we're going to look at that, and we're going to be apprised to what that study brings out. We're unsure at this point, right? We know there's an issue, and we know that it's very passionate for our neighborhood and our area, and we hope that we can come up with some solutions that benefit all the parties that are involved. And some of the emails were very heartfelt and warming, and some of them, it was tough the last couple weekends. Like, I know this is affecting not only my family, but my neighbors and other people around us. And is it a convenience issue, or is it a safety issue? Is it all the above? And I think the answer is yes to that. And I agree with Mr. Cox. We need more playable space. Tennis, pickleball, sports, programmable fields, and access and safe walking to all of those facilities, and accessibility, not just only to the city center and to the rec center, but some of those issues may be a school board issue, maybe a school boundary issue, maybe a busing issue, maybe several other issues that I brought up, and we may be bringing other entities to help solve those issues. And so something's going to come of this. Changes are going to come of this. What those changes might be, we'll find out. So thank you guys for coming and participating.
I would just say I usually try to be really good about answering my emails, and I know I've received emails from several of you, and I have not responded yet, and primarily because I don't really know what to say to you yet, because we have to make decisions based on data, right? And it's not about vehicular convenience. I would tell you that I believe strongly that the people that sit up here primarily want to make sure our citizens are safe. There is no convenient vehicular thing that would take precedence in my mind over the safety of a child. It just simply wouldn't. And I believe that there's a process that's set in place for safe walking routes. There's a team of people that work on that. The council, we don't have a huge role in deciding what the safe walking routes are in our community. We have our police officers that help with that. There's people at the school that help with that. There's people at the school district that helps with that to help determine the best way, the safest way to get your kids to school. And so I have to rely on that data that comes before me. I 100% trust our police officers. I 100% believe that their job is to make sure your kids get to school the safest way possible. I can tell you for sure that a lot of the things that I've seen in these emails, I've seen from other schools in our area. My granddaughter goes to Providence Hall. It is a nightmare there. The traffic there is a zoo. Every day I can't imagine there's not kids hit there. And every day it's just trying to manage and get these kids safely to different places. Our crossing guards deal with that every day. Again, people that are employed by our city to make sure your children are getting there safely. And I 100% believe that their role and their dedication is to make sure they do everything possible to get them there safely. So I would just say, I 100% understand your frustration, the frustration with getting to and from places. I too have been in Harriman for a long, long time, and I used to pass Rose Canyon. I never seen another car unless I knew who they were, and now I don't have any idea who's driving the roads anymore because of the growth. Understand that, because we all live in the community that you live in. So just know that we are going to see the data. Roundabouts have their own nuances, a stoplight there. You know, if I don't have good visibility to that stoplight, I'm going to run the stoplight because I didn't have enough visibility to even see it was there. And that's the last thing we want is kids getting hit because somebody run a stoplight. So it's just we have to be so dependent on some of this data because of those things, because they're studied for a reason to exactly make sure that people can be as safe as possible. Is there a foolproof that no one will ever get hurt? Nope, there's not. There are people who just simply don't drive well, that don't pay attention. People, is there anything that says if we move a stoplight from there to there, nobody will run into the curb? Nope, there's not, because people sometimes don't pay attention when they drive. They're distracted by their phones or by somebody screaming in the back, or their day went bad, whatever it may be. But we're going to try and do everything possible to make it as safe as possible. But unfortunately, it might be that the kids have to walk a little bit further. And I understand the impacts of that, and it's not fun. But it would be better to walk a little bit further and feel like they're being safer than to walk a little bit shorter and feel like they're in jeopardy all the time. Well, and that's what we're waiting to see. That's what we're waiting to see. Yeah. So, and I promise you that we go through these safe walk routes, and then sometimes we have to change midstream and say, this isn't working. But we have a good team of people that will keep working with you. Our officers will keep working with you to make sure those kind of things are the best they possibly can.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Steve, anything to add?
So first of all, this is awesome. I wish we had this kind of attendance at all of our meetings when we're talking about budgets and tax increases and all that kind of stuff. Nobody shows up. Talk about...
Careful.
I don't know if that's always the best decision. We appreciate the confidence, though. You know, one of the things that's really interesting about being elected to serve on the city council is that on the first day that you take office, they imbue you with all of this authority and power to make decisions, but they do not imbue you with all of this information and knowledge to help make good decisions. It is a real challenge to figure out how all these things work so that you're in a better place to make decisions. I'm just starting my 5th year now on the council, and I think I'm finally kind of understanding how some things work. Is that pretty fair? Yeah. These guys have been on 2 years, they don't know anything yet.
You're still getting there.
So, in my particular role, I have the opportunity to represent the council on the Harriman Traffic Committee. And that's made up of public safety, police, engineers, and it's a very interesting meeting. It's been a very frustrating meeting to be a part of. A couple years ago, we were having some issues at Fort Harriman Middle School. Safe walk routes, people crossing, how do we fix things? They did the study, and they came back and they said, all of these things that were desired weren't warranted, and that's why I asked them to say about that. There's all these variables that have to do with how many cars there are, what the average speed of those cars are, what the 85th percentile speed is, line of sight, traffic flow, like all these different things that have to come together before you can use certain traffic calming devices, right? Where you can put a stop sign, where you can put a stop light, where you can put yield signs. I mean, all of these different kinds of things have to be warranted by all of these criteria. The problem is that we still have problems even if the warrant doesn't support a solution. As part of my role on the traffic committee, I actually tasked our engineers and our team to come up with solutions to say, okay, if we're following this list of criteria and we don't come up with a reasonable solution, what else can we do? What other options do we have? And that's where we came up with, I don't know if you guys have been over by the road immediately south of Butterfield Park and Fort Harriman over there. If you notice in the middle of the road, there's some, what do we call those? Bollards. Bollards that are stand up and that they're on opposite sides to help. Those weren't part of a warrant. That was just a solution that we came up with outside of the warrant process to say, how can we help make that crossing right there a little safer? So I guess the reason I'm telling that story, and it's a little bit anecdotal to this, is that when this study is done, my guess is, from what I know about engineering standards up to this point, is it's going to determine that we can't put a traffic light there. That's why there isn't one there now, right? It just isn't going to be warranted. So the question is, what other options exist for us to get our children to and from the school safely? Now, a couple notes. First of all, the city doesn't determine where the schools go. We don't get that choice. The city doesn't determine what the school boundaries are, what streets and areas they go. We don't get asked, we don't get involved, they just make those decisions and tell us. When they change boundaries, when they establish those boundaries, our responsibility then becomes, how do we get children inside that boundary to the school safely? Where are they going to cross? How many crossing guards do we have to hire? Where do they have to be? What times do they have to be there? We've worked with the school district to say, hey, you're having school start at this time, which is a super busy time for traffic. Could you move the start time back 30 minutes or move it up 30 minutes so that you're avoiding this traffic issue? They won't change it for us. So I'm sharing all this information not to make excuses or not to explain anything away, but just so you understand, we're trying to think outside of the box. We're trying to look at all of the possible solutions. We're trying to team up with other agencies, with school districts, with engineering, with public safety, with all of these different things to try and figure out what the solutions are. The worst answer that I can give you right now, and I know this doesn't help anybody feel better, but I feel like I have to be compelled to say this, is we should consider the fact that the solution that we have right now, of all of the options that exist for us, might be the best option that exists. The question is, if that is the best option that exists and it's still unacceptable, what do we do? We're going to pursue that. We're going to see what other options there are. We're going to see what else we can do. And I just share all the other information, the other stories, so that you understand in the past we've tried to do other things. We've looked for other solutions, and we're going to continue to try and do that here. Once we get that information, we'll come back and we'll kind of let you know what that looks like. I just don't want to I don't want to misrepresent and say, oh, this traffic study is going to change everything and it's going to be dramatic difference. Based on my experience so far, that's not likely to happen.
Steve, what can we do or provide to you to help the council be convinced the maximum that something is needed? You're going to get the data, then you've got the day-to-day experiences of what we're living through. So what would it take? Would it if we video all these experiences and send them in, or is it a quantity of people?
If you could just, so for part of the transcript reasons and for the recordings, if you could come up to the mic and just repeat that question so that they can hear it.
Yeah, sorry.
Recording.
So what would it take from us, because we've got at least 300 of us in the community who are concerned about this, what would it take to convince you as a council to the maximum degree that something, even if the data doesn't show it, that something bigger is needed?
Good question.
And I mentioned videos. Honestly, we have these experiences that we're verbalizing or that we're writing down to you, but if we had videos showing you, and I would love, Officer Stromberg, I don't know, have you been at this intersection since last Wednesday? I don't recognize you. I know several of your officers have been. Would it take influence from the officers? From Bethany was there the other day. I had a good chat with her, and she's like, this is a nightmare. We've got to change something. So what influences? We've got support from the director of the fitness center, from the library manager, the owners of Los Tapatios. We are gathering as much support as we can. What would it take to do something, even if the data doesn't warrant some improvement, is my question. And I'd love to hear your experience if you've been there. Yeah.
Yeah, so from personal experience, since this discussion started, I haven't been there personally, but I've been out here for the better part of 15 years and have spent many, many hours studying this particular intersection. Ever since our community meeting and since the beginning of school, we've had a daily presence during both morning and afternoon crossings from the police department. I know Commander Adams is here. He's been there personally on most of those days. Sergeant Lopez has been there as well. We've already made some changes to some crossing guard staffing just based on what we've seen that played out a little bit differently than we had imagined. So those things are things that are within our control that we're certainly being proactive about. But yeah, we'll continue to be a presence there throughout this process and gain as much firsthand observation knowledge as we can so that we're not just relying on numbers and data on a spreadsheet, right? Because there's a certain element of human interaction that exists, right, that you can't really quantify, and we understand that. And so those observations certainly become important for us.
Yeah, and I think that's really important, right, is we have the same issues over on, over in front of Mountain Ridge. You know, there's 3 schools all within a little tiny area of each other. We have the same issues over here at Providence Hall where there's 3 schools right next to each other. It's just a nightmare. All of these are just horrible. It is getting kids across really busy streets when there's all the cars coming in all at the same time. It's a mess. But I think the thing that's really cool is to say, and you said it really well, is that even when the engineering doesn't support something, that doesn't mean that there's not a problem, right? And that's why we continue to look for outside the box solutions. And we may have to get creative, but if it's not a traffic light that's warranted, what other options can we have? And let's continue to talk and brainstorm ideas. I don't want us to get fixed on saying this is the only acceptable solution. That may not be an option for us. So what else can we consider? How else can we do it? Is it an additional crossing guard? Is it different light timing? Can we advocate for a different starter or time for school? Is it, redoing part of the safe walking around? All of those things are on the table. We'll consider them all.
Well, let me say we've yeah, and
Sure.
And I was going to, yes.
Completely understand.
And I think that's where, and I can say, us, I think that's where this is kind of morphed. I think this started out as a school crossing issue, and now I think it's morphed into a bigger conversation, right? So let me say this is where we're going to go from here. We've been at this an hour here, and it's not, let us get the traffic study back, and then let's see where we go from there. I'm going to say one thing about, I know you guys are all in Teddy's district. I will say, please all stand up for this man right here. This is weighed on him. This is absolutely weighed on him. If you go to church with him, please leave the man alone at church. I will say that as somebody who does not like going to church because I get sick of hearing about city stuff at church. So give the man a break so we don't lose him, so we don't slip through the cracks. So no, but it is weighed on this man. So this man does care about you, does care about your community. Just know that. And I will say, I think I speak for all of us up here. Well, I will say, I've got a second grader that goes to Bastion Elementary. We're just north of here. We have a very similar route. We actually have to walk north to 126, down to the light. So we have to walk similar type of route. We've got to walk down and around. He came home. He decided to want to start walking. He's second grade. He's big enough to walk now. He's big enough to walk. He walked home the other day. No hurry, my kid. He's just chill as can be. Wanted to pick up rocks along the road on the way home, along the sidewalk. I started getting nervous, right? I started getting nervous. He wasn't home yet. Then I hear the sirens. It was a typical day. I heard the sirens. And then I immediately thought, that's the fear. I know that's the fear you guys are feeling, not just during school. I know that's what you're fearing. I felt that. I will tell you, for any of us up here, if anything were to happen to any child on our watch, because there's something we could have done, it would eat us up. So please know we are taking this serious. We will. So that's what I'm saying. That's our commitment to you, is we've gone above and beyond when other issues have been brought to us, right? Even without this attention. So please know we are going to take steps on this. So unfortunately, we do yes.
Sorry, real quick, just for public consumption, the warrant study includes both what we call average daily traffic volume, which measures the entire day, as well as high traffic volume, which is just during school crossing time. It's 45 minutes before and 15 minutes after school starts. So we'll get both of those data sets in the warrant study.
So again, our promise is we will come back to you. That's where we need to go. We need to move on, but yeah, we will come back to you with that once we have that study, and we will be open. We'll have meetings, we'll have conversations. So we will, like I said, we're not going to shut the door on being open with you. I may even join the group me. I don't know, never been on group me, but we may join the group me to make sure we're just in the loop. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you for expressing your concerns today, and we look forward to working with you in the future. So.
And thanks for the kids coming out.
Yeah, I thought that was...
You guys, that's awesome. What a great experience for you guys.
She really wants to say something.
You guys can stay if you want. It gets really interesting. Thanks for
Hadley,
coming.
do you really want to say something? Don't leave crying, sweetie. Come here and say what you need to say.
Yeah, please come say.
We have plenty
The
of time
mayor's
for
mean,
you,
but the
sis.
rest of us are really nice.
I didn't see her.
Jaw dropped when we walked up and she saw the room that she was in.
I just wanted to say that my dad was asking if there was any way we could convince you, but all the kids at school, some of my really good friends were begging me to let them sign my petition multiple times. These kids really care, and it's really impacting us with our walk to school, and it's really hard for us because we have to get up super early in the morning, and it's just hard. And it would be really nice to just have it go back to normal.
Yeah, we understand.
Thanks, Hadley.
Are you in 5th grade or 6th grade? Or 5th grade?
5th grade.
Yeah.
I love
Thanks,
it.
sweetie. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, good job.
Okay, we'll move on to item 6, our council reports. Jared's not on, right? Jared's not on. He's coaching. Teddy, do you have anything tonight?
Yeah, we had a couple awesome meetings. So, as you know, the sewer district has changed their name to Jordan Valley Improvement District, but Jordan Basin, sorry, Jordan Basin Improvement District. But we got poop emojis now, so I don't know how that plays out, but we had a wonderful meeting. There is some amazing projects coming in. We've got the 118th project, sewer expansion district. If you've driven on 118th, you know it's crazy right now with traffic and the new sewer line. That's going in. We have some new projects out in Olympia area and 6400 West, and so there's quite a bit of growth out on the west side if you don't know, but there is lots of stuff happening out there. So good things are coming. We're also talking about possibly advancing our expansion project, our 15-year project, maybe in 5 years because of this growth pattern. So see that coming up. And then this morning, Sherry and Lauren will also probably talk about this, about our South Valley Chamber board appointments. Sherry and I are on. Our first board meeting was today. It's a pretty awesome group of individuals. Still getting our feet wet there and seeing what that comes, but I know they've been to all of our ribbon cuttings and all our new stuff here in the city. So we're excited about that. It's a new development and new partnership. So that's all I had.
Okay, Sherry?
I'll just tag on to Teddy on that and thank Mayor Palmer for his presentation about Harriman today at that board meeting. So good job.
Well, it was staff that put it together.
I
I could talk about that stuff for hours, so it was staff that put it together.
We had our Wasatch Front Waste and Recycling meeting. Just a little bit of preliminary budget stuff. We did approve a employee, a driver raise. We're having still a hard time staying in the ballgame, mostly with Salt Lake City. So we had to increase their wages a little bit more so we can have some retention there. We're doing pretty good with hiring, but the last couple of months we've fallen below the threshold of Salt Lake City. Part of the problem is that we do our budgets January through December, and municipalities do them in July typically, so we don't really understand exactly what they're going to be paying. It's hard to compete. It's hard to set that. So we're going to stop doing these mid-year raises, and we're going to do a little bit better job hopefully next year projecting what the rates should be. So we're not coming back in mid-year. This is 2 or 3 years in a row that we've had to do that. And then they'll be reaching out, I assume, to you, Nathan or Wendy, about getting on the agenda because there will be a rate increase for next year. So they're going to come and present to the council sometime. Do you want to reach out to you, Jackie, or to who? Okay, I'll tell Pam to reach out to you to just get on the agenda for I can tell you the rate increase proposed is $5.50. I'm probably a little pushback on that. I personally think that we need to maybe take it off in smaller chunks than that. But that would get us projected out for 3 years without having to do a rate increase. But I just think with the economy the way it is, every time I turn around, somebody else is doing a tax increase. And I just think that if we can just do smaller chunks over time, I understand the time value of money, but I also understand people's ability to try and pay every month. So hopefully we don't go to $5.50, but that'll still be up to the board. But Pam will be coming to talk about a rate increase.
Perfect. Thank you, Sherry. Steve?
Okay, mosquito stuff. So if you recall, about a month ago, we had a notice that one of the pools tested positive for a suspected Eastern equine encephalitis, and that we turned it into the lab up at the U, and they also verified that finding was there. They ended up taking it and sending it to the CDC for further evaluation, and the CDC determined that was it was a false positive. They're researching exactly how that happened. There was something in the DNA strand. I don't know. It's way beyond my pay grade. But they're checking out to make sure that doesn't. However, on the other hand, West Nile, this is kind of boom time of the year for that. They are having upticks in the number of pools that are testing positive. There are less than 20, it's like 18 or 19 human cases of West Nile that have been found around the state. So please, this time of year, if you see, especially after the major rains we've had, if you have any standing water, any planters or pools or buckets or anything that has standing water. Empty them out, get rid of it, clear it up. Those are breeding grounds for mosquitoes right now, and there's lots of them. And then please, 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 when you guys are out, especially in the evening and morning hours, wear appropriate, mosquito and bug repellent that has the DEET or the other ingredients that will keep the mosquitoes away from you. Just be safe. I don't think there's really any super public safety concerns or anything like that. It's just important to realize that those things are out there, and we should do what we can to protect ourselves. So.
Okay. Thank you, Steve. I don't have anything really to report right now. Let's see, Jared. Jared's just checking in. Thanks, Jared. Okay. We'll move on to 8.1, National Parks and Recreation. He didn't have anything to report. He's giving us a hard time for just starting our reports right now. So
it's like it's 8 o'clock and you're just starting your report.
So 8.1, National Parks and Recreation Month photo contest winners. Wendy.
So July is officially the National Park and Recreation Association month, and we celebrate it here in Harriman City with our favorite mascot, the Yeti. We do Yeti in the park in July, which is always well attended, and Yeti picks a different park throughout the city to go visit and hand out otter pops and other things, sunglasses and sunscreen and those kinds of things. And in addition, this year we added a photo contest, and we had 3 winners. Tammy Mortensen, Clark Ragsdale, I'm going to mess up her name, and she even told me how to say it, Jolly Mason. So I think that she's the only one that's here. Oh, you're Tammy? Will you both come on up? And John has their photos in a file, so we'll put those up.
Oh, yeah, I want to see.
Oh, yeah, I remember voting on these.
I voted on that. Yeah, I voted for this, yes.
It's all coming back to me now. That's awesome.
They're great pictures.
They're sparking back your memories on how you voted.
Oh, I love it.
They were super great.
So I want to give a special shout out to Mitch Davis. He really helped a lot with this process, and hopefully we can do it again next year and get some more engagement from our community through the summer. And we have bikes for our winners that they get to take home tonight.
Cool.
So if we can just do a quick picture.
Yes, yes.
We'll take a picture of the picture takers with you.
I think you should write it over. There you go. Wow. Put that picture. It's like riding those those little cart things at the house. Oh, the little.
All right, a little closer here. Perfect. All right, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
You guys can decide which one you want.
Pink prints for sure.
Pink's the way to go.
Because yours is a one heart, right? Oh, I got a broken one. That's all figured out. This was not one embedded in the wrapper. Put those lines and try to store them. That hurt. Smarties. That's the good stuff.
That's funny. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it should be now. If Boeing made a bicycle, would you ride on it?
Ooh.
whizzing through this agenda.
Hi, Matt. I had to give Matt a shout out. Saunter. Sauntering.
Aaron would know that, right? You sauntered when you were senator?
Were you good at it? Okay. Okay, we'll move on to item 9.9, consent agenda. Look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda as written.
Second.
Motion by Teddy, second by Sherry. Steve?
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes.
Teddy?
Yes.
And Jared?
TikTok.
He said he was on.
He's driving.
Yes.
Okay, there he is. That was an emphatic yes. Welcome, Jared. Did you win?
I don't want to talk about it.
So, no.
That's not in the affirmative.
It's probably the referee's fault. It always is. Matt is a referee.
You don't have your stripes on. You're okay.
Players
Let the players
win
play.
games, coaches lose them, and referees ruin them.
Exactly.
Our friend Matt over here is a collegiate basketball referee, and sometimes wheelchair basketball referee, too. Sometimes. Okay, 10.1. Discussion and consideration of a request to amend Harriman City's official zoning map from A143, single-family agricultural, to R110, single-family residential, for .81 acres of property located at 13333 South Rose Canyon Road.
Okay.
Clint, welcome.
Should add a few more threes in there. So this request comes from Alan Prince. This is property, again, in West Harriman, 6400 West and 134 South. This is the property to be rezoned. Recently, the property to the west of this was rezoned to the R110 zone. Mr. Prince has been working with the adjacent property owner and is under contract to purchase a piece of that to facilitate the construction of 2 more residential lots, and then this will also provide an access road through the development that was already approved to the property to the east.
That's road, right?
Yeah, I'll show the subdivision here in a second. So the total acreage is .81 that's being rezoned. I guess the rest of that will stay in the A143 zone. And in terms of what we review as a city, you know, is the rezoning character with the surrounding development, and are there any adverse effects? Looking at the general plan, this is the request for the rezone does fall within the neighborhood 1 general plan land use designation. The general plan states that this neighborhood 1 is typically for the development of conventional suburban neighborhoods, which this is very much one of those. And again, this is the existing subdivision that was approved by the Planning Commission, and you can see that how this will kind of continue through, provide those 2 residential lots, and then the access to development further to the east.
3rd acres-ish.
When this was brought before the Planning Commission, it was approved unanimously, and there was no public comments at the hearing. So if there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer what I can.
Okay, no questions? I think it's perfect for the area. I think it's,
Yeah, it's well done, and I think it's part of what we were saying when we made the other adjustment was it just made sense. It's great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait for a motion then.
Motion to approve ordinance number 2024-23, amending the Harriman City zoning map for .81 acres of property located at 13333 South Rose Canyon Road from A143 agricultural single family to R110 residential single family.
Second.
Motion by Steve, second by Sherry. Teddy?
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes as well. That motion carries. Okay. Thank you, Clint. Item 10.2, discussion and consideration of a request to amend the Mountainview Plaza Master Development Agreement for 6 acres located at 12252 South Harriman Main Street in the C2 Commercial Zone. Clint?
All right, this is the first time I think this has been back for a MDA amendment. This is the Mountainview Plaza project just south of the Anthem on Harriman Main Street. There's 2 buildings, maybe 3 buildings that are under construction right now, if you've driven out there and seen those recently. So This is the 3 requests in the MDA amendment. First, propose new uses in the MDA, revise the corner plaza design, and then include a sign master plan, or a master sign plan, however you want to put it. These are the current uses that are in the existing MDA. This is what the applicant is requesting to add to that. There was a 5th request. If you looked at the application, there was a request to allow gymnastics. That falls under what's already approved as the indoor recreation. So that was taken off the list. And then we highlighted this one in blue, the animal care services. The ones that are in yellow, we feel like those are very much in line with what is already existing in the current uses. The animal care service, we had a few more concerns on. The site was originally designed to be kind of a hub for entertainment and bring some vitality and activity. And as a commission and staff, we were kind of concerned with how that animal care service would fit into that meld of activity. In this development, there's 4 plazas that are, in the design, these are the pictures that were included in the MDA for those areas. They're kind of, they want to drive activity, vitality, public spaces. And the concern was how would an animal care service contribute to that, or would it detract from that? So in conversation with the commission, it was decided that that animal care service would still be allowed in the zone, but just not adjacent to one of these public plazas, to allow for these other entertainment type of uses that would drive the activity in those plazas and be a little more conducive towards that. In terms of the master sign plan, they have 3 proposed monument signs that are pictured here. Again, a very attractive sign. And then this will just help them through the process. Typically as a point of policy, monument signs are considered to be a conditional use. If in planning commission policy, if they put a masonry column up one side of the sign, it doesn't have to go to the commission. It can just be approved administratively. That was made clear to the applicant, but they wanted this sign design. So having this part of the MDA will allow them to move forward with their applications without having to go back to the Planning Commission for approval. The only recommendation we had from the staff level is to make sure that these 2 text they matched, to make that more of a placemaking statement there for that plaza. The biggest change was probably in the plaza redesign. Originally, there was a water feature, this kind of winding water feature through it, surrounded by seating. The applicants moved away from that and gone to more of a, what they've included is a central performance platform with some wrought iron fencing, and then they also have changed out where the game tables were and put in a playground with some shading over the top. Takes up the same amount of space, just a little different design. And this is kind of how that corner plaza has gone through the process. The first picture is kind of the conceptual. This is the idea of what they're kind of going for. The next one over is what was approved originally with the MDA, and then this bottom one is what they've kind of landed on now for proposal.
What's the elevation of that monument sign out there? Of the proposed monument sign on that corner there?
Okay.
Elevation
so it's right here on the top left, both the top right and left.
Yeah, what's the
elevation?
The height?
I want to say, 7 feet?
6 foot, 7 foot?
feet.
Okay.
Oh, 70 inches?
Okay, so 6
70
foot.
inches, so almost.
Is it anticipated you might have like a live music position or something like that, or?
I love it.
That's really cool.
I love it.
Yeah.
I like that change.
And just some more renderings that were provided to kind of give a sense and a feel. And Steve, to your point, the statement from the applicant was to create a focal point for entertainment, people to present art and such. At the public hearing, there were no public comments, and it was approved unanimously by the Planning Commission. If there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer what I can. Obviously, the applicant is here as well, if you'd like to hear from them.
Animal services in particular, like types, boarding, dog grooming.
It's a vet, right? If I understand, it's a vet. Come
A
on,
vet?
Aaron, yeah, come on.
Like a veterinary
Yeah,
service.
okay, okay. There is an end user in mind. Okay, cool.
But if I say animal care services, it seems a little broad if there's a veterinary involved versus, because maybe a whole bunch of people bringing their dogs to be groomed back and forth through a parking lot where people are coming for entertainment, things like that. I'm not sure that those are harmonious.
Agreed,
Kind of uses.
Yeah. Eric, you want to speak to it? Yeah, go ahead, come on up.
Derived off of a veterinary service.
In this particular case, this is a national veterinary organization. There is no boarding or overnight services. It is only for medical care. It's not intended to be, a boarding care type of facility, and it's very professional. It's a much different type of feel than you would see in a typical veterinarian type hospital setting. But that's the context. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, but I wonder if we could narrow that down to specifically say that.
Per pro square footage, what are you thinking on there?
They are going to take I don't know if you can go back to that showing of building 4.
And also, just as a point of consideration, the ordinance does not allow for an animal care service to have boarding. That's a different use.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, it wasn't boarding necessarily I was worried about. It was more like grooming and things like that. It's just coming in a lot of animal traffic coming back and forth, of course.
Yeah, if you look there on building 4, it's the end unit. It's units B and C, C and D at the very end, right near the main entrance to the north section of the property.
And I mean, Errol, I guess I'll ask you're okay with that in that you think it'll be compatible with the bar that's coming and?
Well, there are multiple different uses, obviously, that are there, and that we're super sensitive to the entertainment use, but we also have a tenant that is very interested in this particular area and willing to pay a very high overall tenant fee to be in that location, who's willing to meet our design standards, our excellent standards, and also maintain that section of the property specific to animal use, and keep it contained. So we have restaurant use almost exclusively on that entire corner and north and south there and east and west, and it's almost all entertainment. Just that corner there will be set aside for that animal use purpose.
And is this a 24-hour vet or is it, okay?
It's regular business hours.
Okay, so that's more compatible.
It's also important for us to remember there are no tax revenue off of veterinary services per se.
Yeah, but you're not going to be, still a service I think is needed. We get a lot of requests for veterinary care in this community.
Yeah, we only have the one down there on.
That's the only one in the city right now.
So I'm okay with that. Are we comfortable limiting it to just one?
Say that one more time.
Just one
Animal
tenant
care service.
for animal care service.
There's no even ability for me to do another one because in their lease agreement with us, they're specifically stating that no one else can be.
Exclusivity.
It's
okay.
exclusive. So, and we wouldn't want to have more than one. And the other thing I want to just quickly touch on while I'm up here is that, as we talk more about Building 7 and the desire for more entertainment, we're making a shift away from this concept of the office and office medical, and we're shifting more towards having retail like we have with these other buildings on the main floor, and then the second, possibly third floor to dedicate to a reception center. So our intent is to create, evening traffic, evening events, and those types of things from an entertainment draw perspective, consistent with the theme that we've been discussing for the last 2 years.
Like it.
I love it.
That was on our notes from the.
Councilmember Shields. It's a good thing, I think. If you wanted to limit the animal services to one tenant per the building for the amendment, I think that would be appropriate, because as you know, lease can always change, times can change, but as long as it's in the MDA, if that is a concern that we feel comfortable.
Veterinary services?
Yep. Yeah.
Rather than animal care
I would prefer that myself as well. It just doesn't resonate very well, and it's such a professional business, and if you could see pictures of their facilities in other locations, you would recognize that as well.
Yeah, most veterinaries tend to be that way, but I just would rather it say veterinary services rather than animal care.
Veterinary services in one, if we could
One
make those
building.
two adjustments.
The reception use would need to be added, and you could add that right now, because currently it is not allowed in there. But I think it was more of an oversight when we did the original MDA, because I think it complies with the intended use of this site.
That's entertainment. That's what we want.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
We would just need to clearly add that in with this motion.
Steve?
Would there be catering opportunities for the restaurants there for that
Yeah.
center. If that
That
makes sense.
it's not meant to be a self-contained, self-sufficient type of reception
Okay.
center. It's meant to be bring your food, cater in. It's more of a facility rental than it is an actual service, a full-service
kitchen and
solution.
all- yeah, got it, got it, got it.
That's what we're envisioning for the property. And there are other examples of that are very successful right now in different markets that we're just trying to replicate, and we think that's the best model.
That's going to be,
It is a
that's
good
going to be
model, I
booked from
agree.
day one. That will be.
Yeah, it just reduces your overhead, makes it super clean in and out. It's all about a rental.
Going to be open by December 28th.
You've already got a reservation.
Apparently the mayor's wife is getting married.
I picked up on something there.
Oh, my gosh. She is listening now, so thank you for that. That's paybacks for the text, right?
Hey, Aaron, if I can just say something. Listen, it was really interesting. A couple years ago, this was a totally different plan, right? It was Game Point. We saw the pictures, and that would have been what a cool, exciting thing. And then the whole world shifted on us, right?
Right.
And I know that you guys were feeling some pressure. I just want to highlight and applaud you guys. You listened to the input we gave. You've developed you guys are crushing this. This is going to be just, it is exceeding expectations.
Awesome.
We're excited about the tenants that you guys are bringing.
Great.
The design elements are outstanding. You get your speed of construction is great. I just couldn't be happier with the way that things are going. Just thank you so much for what you guys are doing. You've been great partners. We're excited for this development.
Well, we feel the same, and I know that this project is going to be a community draw. There's no doubt about it, that both the quality of the building, the way that we're laying out the amenities, the types of tenants that we're attracting into the location, we're very excited about the outcome of this project. I just want it done yesterday.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm just glad it's getting done, because we get a lot of promises and no performance,
I
so
know.
thank you for performing.
Yes.
Aaron, where's the station going to be? Where's the station at on
The
this?
building 1, here to the southwest,
Okay.
is the station.
Building 1, okay.
Their funding is to be approved here shortly. They'll start on their tenant improvements, and we should have them in by end of year.
That's amazing.
Hey, and on that note, I think the single-use venue would have been amazing, but I think this is a better product and a better type for our community, and I think this is overall a better development what we needed.
Well, we feel the same, and I'll just say, frankly, if it hadn't been for the support of the council, we would have just walked away. You guys made it possible for us to make this possible. So we're very thankful for the partnership, and the staff has been phenomenal, absolutely working with us on every single change and iteration from a design perspective, this guy especially. It's been a fantastic project experience for all of us that have been involved. Our contractors, our designers, our architect have all commented that this has been a unique experience. They've not had this kind of partnership with the municipality in their working experience.
Can you put that on Harriman Happenings?
Happy to put that in. Happy to put
that
in the.
Give a seminar because look, I am so excited to hear that is being reciprocated, right? And I wish all of our development partners would just take note of this and listen to this conversation. We articulated a vision. You bought into that vision. And as we have worked together, the process has been amazing. You're supporting what we want to do. We're supporting what you want to do. We're willing to be flexible and make changes as we're going through the process. It's just the way that great development should happen, right? So oftentimes we end up being at odds with each other and not sharing that same vision for what can happen in these places. And I just wish more of our development partners would get on board with this.
Well, we
way of
should
doing
do a
things.
seminar, Councilman, and we should figure
Yes, we
this out,
should,
and we should
right?
teach others how to do this
I agree.
right.
For a nominal charge.
Nominal charge. I do want to just comment one thing personally, that we're very excited about the fact that Fizz is coming to our project. And so for those of you that are into sodas and have an addiction like me, will appreciate the fact that this is a key part of our future facility.
But they're moving from there to there.
Who?
Are they moving or are they adding a new?
I don't know.
We don't know.
I hope it's a second location, because
It's
this
a
is so
second.
convenient.
I think it's a second location.
I'm confident it's a second location.
That's cool.
There's a lot of demand at the end of the day. We've got a lot of great tenants. We'll continue to update staff on those tenants as we sign them, but we feel very good about the direction. Do you have any questions about the plaza and the plaza design that you would like to ask our architect?
I love it.
Okay, wonderful.
Nice.
Thank you. Appreciate your
I
time.
just have a question on the motion. So we should add, so we could say veterinary services, limited to one building, and then add what?
The one
Add
user.
reception center as a permitted use in the list of permitted uses.
And we don't have a definition for veterinary services in our code.
Is that
so-
why it said animal care services?
Yeah,
we
so
think we're
we
okay,
can, we can limit it to it, and maybe you can leave the definition of that up to the city manager and I, and we'll work with the applicant on that.
Okay.
We'll use the common definition and try to stay with that, though.
Yeah,
Do we want to limit that reception to just building 7, or is that available anywhere? That was just another thought.
Yeah, why not? I mean,
Yeah, I
if
think
we
that's a
change it,
good
we can
plan.
come back. I mean, yeah.
It's really the only
The only
place for it, yeah,
two-story,
to have
yeah.
enough
We want the
space.
two-story, we want a top level, it's gonna look good.
Is that a 2-story or 3-story? That's 3-story.
Might be 3.
Maybe 3.
Full glass?
Types of space underneath, and then a topside outdoor.
Yeah,
some
can you do
outdoor
a
stuff.
rooftop stuff?
Patio,
Yeah,
rooftop.
yeah.
Like the Wells Fargo building.
The garden south?
Sign me
There you
up.
go.
In December.
You'd have Christmas trees
Lots
up
of
there in
hot
heaters.
Hot tubs. I like hot tubs. Check out my Facebook
Oh,
page.
my gosh.
God,
This
is
has gone off the rails. Okay.
Ready to make a motion?
Yes, please.
Motion to approve resolution number R32-2024, amending the master development agreement for Mountainview Plaza as written with the exception of changing animal care services to veterinary services limited to one user and add reception center as a permitted use.
Second.
That count? Good? We hit everything, Todd? Okay. Motion by Sherry, second by Teddy. Steve?
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes.
Teddy?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
No vote yes as well. That motion carries. Again, thank you for your work on this. We're excited.
Yeah, looks good.
Looks
And
so
thanks for
good.
building.
Yes, thanks.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. 10.3, discussion and consideration of a resolution giving notice of pending ordinance to make changes in HCC 1036 and 1016-1 relating to tobacco establishment and sales. Todd?
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for allowing me to present. We don't,
We didn't allow you.
Excited to see if there's a good slide.
We're waiting for the presentation.
working for a municipality sometimes feels like this.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we have a problem.
How do we get our people home? They are here. We turn around, straight back, direct abort.
I don't know who's who.
Hold it down, people. I don't care what anything was designed to do. I care about what it can do.
I do this intentionally because we were having a meeting last week about a scenario that came up that blew up, and our city manager said, "Stop telling me what's broken and tell me how to fix it," in a relation to this movie. And my response was, "You should have hit the abort button." And so I'm gifting our city manager
Keep that handy, Nathan.
He can use that any day he wants to, and I'm sure he's tempted to use it more than once a day. My presentation is actually just one slide. So a notice of pending ordinance is a tool for municipalities. I know you know this, but this is also for the public, where there's a regulation that's problematic or it's an unregulated area in our code. This goes to the former. In Harriman, we have a problem, and the problem is the definition of retail tobacco specialty business. I cite to it in my staff report. Some of the problems is that the definition includes the sale of tobacco products accounts for more than 35% of total annual gross receipts of the establishment. And there's really no way for us to verify that. We do not review receipts to see if they're meeting that 35% threshold. Then there's another requirement that it says that food and beverage have to be less than 45% of their receipts, and it can't be a pharmacy. This is starkly different than the definitions in Utah code and what the Salt Lake County Health Department uses. That's a problem because they give out licenses based on those definitions, and it's different than ours. The code doesn't clarify where a store that does not meet the definition of retail specialty tobacco business may be located. The only citations to tobacco in our code is in the definition of retail tobacco specialty business. I think there's an assumption that gas stations can sell tobacco because they don't meet the definition and therefore are permitted. But that's another, what if they are, there's an argument that, well, I don't meet this threshold, or I'm alleging that I don't meet this threshold of a specialty tobacco business and trying to get in there. Then there's no way for us to verify it because we don't review receipts. And so this pending ordinance will allow us 180 days or 6 months to review this issue, craft an ordinance for it to go through the normal process, through the Planning Commission, and back to you for approval. Any applications that happen in this time would be put on pause until we figure out what appropriate regulations could be. So that's what we're asking for you to vote on tonight. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Do we currently have pending applications?
No.
Okay. See no discussion, I'll look for a motion then.
Sure. I'll make a motion to approve Resolution R332024, giving the notice of pending ordinance to make changes to Title 10-3-6 and Title 10-16-1 relating to tobacco establishments and sales.
Motion by Teddy.
Second.
Second by Steve. Teddy?
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, that motion carries. Thank you, Todd. I'm going to need that paused portion where you label everybody. I'm going to need to.
Yeah, we got to see who's who. Yeah.
Okay, that brings us to the conclusion of our meeting tonight. Future meetings, Planning Commission meeting on the 4th. Oh my word, it's September 4th next week. 7 o'clock, next City Council meeting, September 11th at 7 o'clock. Events coming up tomorrow is Senior Bingo here at 10 o'clock. RSVP is required, so hopefully that's done by now.
There may be an intermediate comedy show during bingo.
Oh my gosh. Labor Day is Monday. City offices will be closed. The ongoing reminder about Hungry Harriman, the farmer's market every Monday night out here at Crane Park starting at 5 o'clock. I will say too, there's a Friends of Harriman, a Patriot Fest.
Patriot Fest, September 7th,
Fest,
here
which
at Crane
is,
Park.
I know there's been a lot of, I'll just be careful. This is patriotic music. This is celebrating,
It's remembering September 11th.
remember September 11th. So
And
there's,
celebrating our first responders.
yep. So a really cool event. It's not anything, it's not a political thing. This is really just celebrating patriotism, and it's going to be an orchestra, is it an orchestra coming out with some other stuff, car show during the day, kind of spread out throughout the day. It's going to be a really fun event. So that is on the 7th?
September 7th.
September 7th. So yeah, that's before our next meeting, so I'm glad to. Okay, so look for information on that. It's on social media and on Friends of Harriman stuff. So that, I'll look for a motion to go back to work meeting.
I'll make a motion to go back to work meeting.
Motion by Teddy.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you, everybody.
How do we say that? Go back to work.
Yeah, it's like. Back to work. Back to work, man.